Hello and welcome to Volusia Magazine. I'm Amber Osmond. In today's episode, the Daytona Beach Half Marathon is in the books, and we will get a full recap of the festivities. With the recent cold snap, residents need to be aware of fire dangers before cranking up the furnace or throwing another log on the fire. And we helped the Marine Science Center send off 3 turtles back to their watery home. In the business beat, we visit a world-renowned company in Ormond Beach. And in Solutions for Your Life, Joe Sewards lets us know when it's time to start planting our spuds. Finally, joining Dave Byron in the studio is Dona Butler with Volusia County Community Assistance. Those segments, news, and more coming right up on Volusia Magazine. I hope you stay tuned. A cold and rainy morning was not a deterrent for thousands of runners who braved the weather conditions February 7th to compete in the Daytona Beach Half Marathon at the Daytona International Motorsports Stadium. Approximately 2,750 runners signed up for one of the 3 of the Sunday morning events: the Half Marathon, the Half Marathon Relay, and the 3.1-mile Lap the Track. Volusia County government and Daytona International Speedway partnered to return the popular running event to Daytona Beach. The runners got to experience the excitement of race car action as they ran inside the newly renovated Daytona International Motorsports Stadium.
Oh, it was awesome. We got to run around the corners and we climbed all the way up to the top and got to touch all the walls. It was awesome.
I think the first 2 miles were my fastest because I was just in the adrenaline rush of being here.
The race car theme continued throughout the course, including course marshals dressed in racing attire and spirited runners dressed in their best running costumes. All runners who finished the race received a sizable finisher medal. Among other perks, all runners received a pancake breakfast, and finishers of the half marathon and relay received a large beach towel.
Oh gosh, the support of the community, the cars out there, beautiful, beautiful race. Lindo, muy lindo, vengan todos.
The bridge, just going out the bridge. It's a beautiful view, what you got in there.
Loved it. It was awesome being on the track. Yeah.
It's the best race.
Yeah.
Basically running and here in the track, that's most of what I enjoyed, and enjoyed the people also.
Smooth sailing. I'm still breathing. I'm still standing. And we got a really cool medal.
Yes.
It's so fancy, smancy. I love it.
County Manager Jim Deneen, who also ran the half marathon, said he believes this 2016 event will grow in years to come and will have a lasting and positive impact on tourism in the area and will attract a number of families.
A lot of people, we had a big crowd. We may do, considering it got colder than we thought. We had the rain, but the rain finally held off. Yeah, we're very pleased. I think the people who ran it had a good time. The course is a good course. It was all laid out well, both the 5K and the half marathon.
Sponsored by the Florida Hospital and Brown & Brown Insurance, the Daytona Beach Half Marathon featured a scenic course that took runners from the historic asphalt of Daytona International Speedway to International Speedway Boulevard, leading to a panoramic view of the Atlantic Ocean atop the International Speedway Boulevard high-rise bridge. Because of the rain and windy conditions, runners could not run the small stretch of the beach as planned and instead ran a stretch on South Atlantic Avenue. After the races, Daytona International Speedway President Joy Chitwood and Deneen presented awards to the top 3 finishers in each age category. In the next few weeks, organizers will announce the date for the 2017 Daytona Beach Half Marathon. For more information on the Daytona Beach Half Marathon or to register, you can visit DaytonaBeachHalf.com. With our recent bouts of cold weather, Volusia County firefighters are reminding residents to practice fire safety when heating their homes.
The cold weather has brought on a lot of changes for us, and as we try to find heat sources to heat up our living areas, folks tend to go back to some things that they haven't operated in a while. Space heaters, if they haven't had them out operational in a while, they need to get them out, go through it, make sure it's okay. Make sure the plugs and the cords are good. When you plug it in and you turn it on, make sure there's a 3-foot clearance area around it for combustible products, curtains, drapes, furniture, newspapers, things like that. Keep the children away from those areas as well. Turn them off when you go to bed. Those shouldn't run at night. They shouldn't run while they're unattended, so we want to be safe there. Heating source such as a kerosene heater or something like that, make sure that it's been checked out and inspected and working properly. Also, this is a time of year when people like to burn fire in their fireplace. And what we ask is that you make sure your fireplace has been serviced and cleaned, and that there's no buildup of creosote inside the chimney, and it's inspected and safe for you. We ask you do that at least annually. If it hasn't been done in a while, don't burn. Be safe, be cautious.
Homeowners should make sure the flue and damper are open before starting a fire, and fireplaces should have a sturdy screen in front. It's important to make sure all ashes are extinguished before being emptied. This is also a great time for homeowners to get outside and do some lawn and home maintenance to prevent fires.
Clean out their gutters, clean out the eaves, clean out the valleys on their roof. A 30-foot perimeter around the structure of green vegetation is what we would ask that folks do. So if you've got old leaves, old trees, old limbs that are laying over there that could be a fuel source, take the time to remove it right now. That'll help us keep you safe in this bad weather.
Chief Smith also suggests that homeowners replace mulch, which is highly flammable, with gravel or rock. For more fire prevention tips, you can visit volusia.org/fire services. 3 juvenile green sea turtles were returned to the sea recently after being treated and rehabilitated at Volusia County's Marine Science Center. The 3 turtles arrived within the past 4 months and were brought back to good health from various injuries and illnesses. After gaining weight and regaining their health, they were anxious to return to the ocean to continue their long lifespan and help carry on the species. A large crowd gathered on the beach to wish them a bon voyage.
These 3 turtles had only been with us for about 4 months or less, which is great turnaround time to be able to get them back out there. The first turtle her name was Elvira, and she came in with an injury to the back of her shell and her tail area that appeared to be boat propeller related.
Staff discovered the turtle already had a microchip that indicated she had a short rehabilitation stay at SeaWorld Orlando in 2014.
She's obviously faced a lot of obstacles in her short life. Juvenile green sea turtle of that size, probably 5 years or less.
Sherbet was found in Ormond Beach in November after stranding with an injury to the middle portion of its carapace, or shell. This fracture also appeared to be caused by a boat propeller.
It's a very linear wound right across where the vertebrae should be, so we were really concerned about how that would affect his recovery chances. But after x-rays and taking him in for a CT scan, we could see that the injury didn't completely affect his vertebrae or his spinal cord. So it was just a matter of getting it to heal up properly and making sure that his immune system was good enough to go.
Another turtle, Presley, washed ashore in New Smyrna Beach in December. The turtle was lethargic, underweight, and had several wounds and abrasions on the under portion of the shell.
And he was pretty cold at the time that he came in late November, early December. And we were able to get his injuries and his wounds treated and get him back up to a good, healthy weight and get him back out there. So far this year, since January 1st, we've already received 10 sea turtle patients, which is a pretty steady flow for this time of year. We're seeing a lot of boat propeller injuries right now, also some turtles that have been affected by the cold temperatures. Luckily, we've had kind of a short winter season, but it has been pretty cold in the intercoastal areas and the inshore waters for those juvenile greens that might be in there that can't quite handle the drop in temperature.
The Marine Science Center is open to the public at 100 Lighthouse Drive in Ponce Inlet. Visitors may view the Turtle Hospital and walk through a marine display area and Seabird Rehabilitation Center from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Tuesday through Saturday and noon to 4 p.m. on Sunday. For more information, visit marinesciencecenter.com. Joanne Magley takes us to one of the world's foremost medical billing companies located right here in Volusia County in this week's Business Beat.
DuvaSawko is a coding, billing, accounts receivable, and practice management company in Ormond Beach, owned and operated by Dr. Charles Duva and Dr. William Sawko.
The most important thing to us when we started this company is, and has been, is our reputation. I said to my partner when we first started, I said, you know, I really am not really concerned about how much money we make. I don't want to lose money, but I'm mostly concerned about our reputation. That reputation has been continuing to grow throughout the country, and we are recognized as probably being the Rolls-Royce of medical billing for this particular specialty.
MPros is the name of the emergency medicine practice management company, one of the oldest physician corporations in the state of Florida, in business since 1976, with 60 physicians staffing 4 emergency departments in Volusia and Flagler counties. In the early years of running MPros, Duva and Sawko realized they were not getting the service they needed from the billing coding companies they were using.
We went through 3 different companies, each about 2 years, and none of those companies ever provided the revenues they predicted, the analytics that we needed to properly run our physician corporation, to help us create budgets, as well as providing us with education for our physicians so they can better document their medical records to get paid more appropriately for the work that they were doing.
Because of those failures from the outside coding companies, they decided with their backgrounds they could create a great coding company. So they started DuvaSawko Medical Coding and Billing.
When we started, our individual staffing company had 2 hospitals and approximately 65,000 patient visits annually. The first 6 months of being in operations, we saw a significant increase in our cash flow for that corporation. So we knew right at first that we had some pretty successful outcomes from our efforts. We shared that with a lot of friends in the state of Florida that practiced the same kind of medicine we do, that also had their own organizations, and they asked us to do their business.
The first year in the coding business, they landed their first client, a Jacksonville group with 6 hospitals. DuvaSawko started out doing the coding for 3 of those hospitals and eventually all 6. A few years after starting their company, they created their own proprietary software.
The proprietary software program is probably has no competition in the United States today. The amount of medical analytics that we can draw from this program, which allows us to properly staff and properly understand the overall needs of an emergency department in any hospital, is significant.
Duva says they get much of their business by word of mouth. In the last 3 years, the company has grown an average of 18% a year. And the new 30,000 square foot office building on Young Street gives them room to grow another 40% in size. Today, DuvaSawko is in 10 states and submit about 2.4 million claims annually, billing more than $1.2 billion a year for their clients.
Most of the companies that we compete against, and this is a real important point for Volusia County and their citizens, is that those other companies outsource their business to other countries outside the United States. So we had to be competitive in price because those folks doing the work outside the country were significantly paid lower salaries than what we pay, plus no benefits. So we've had to be very creative in trying to manage costs of operations. So by us leaving that other building in Daytona Beach and moving here, which included some incentives from the city of Ormond Beach, helped us keep our business here. We were courted by other folks outside of Volusia County, and with some very, very nice incentives. But as a corporation, philosophically,
We are very dedicated to our community. The community's been good to us, and we feel that we should keep returning that back to the community. And we think we've done a pretty good job of doing that.
For the Business Beat, I'm Joanne Magley.
Today on Solutions for Your Life, Joe Seward shows us that it is time to plant potatoes in Florida home gardens.
Hi, I'm Joe Seward, and this is Solutions for Your Life. I'm the Urban Horticulture Agent and Master Gardener Coordinator for the University of Florida IFAS Extension here in Volusia County. Today we're going to talk about planting potatoes in your home garden. Did you know that Florida is a major potato producing state, especially east of the Mississippi? Florida produces more potatoes than any other state east of the Mississippi with the exception of Maine. And we are the main supplier of early spring potatoes because now is potato growing or planting season in Florida. First of all, I'd like to explain a little bit about what a potato really is. A potato is known as a tuber, and a tuber is actually an underground modified stem of the potato plant. Did you also know that potatoes are related to tomatoes? They're in the same plant family as tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant, other popular fruits and vegetables that we grow here in Florida. I want to show you how to prepare seed potatoes for planting. A potato this size is too big to plant just by itself, so you want to cut it. Some potatoes might be small, like this fingerling potato, and you could plant the whole thing. But what you want to do is you want to identify the eyes on the potato. Everybody is familiar with the eyes of potatoes. Those are the things that sprout if you have potatoes at home and you keep them in the closet too long. So you want to identify the eyes on this, and your seed pieces need to be about the size of a golf ball, give or take a little bit. So if you find the eyes on your potato, you can cut accordingly so that each seed piece has at least one or two eyes. And this piece right here has 1, 2, 3, 4 eyes on it. So I'm going to try to cut it in such a way that each piece has 2 eyes. And these will be appropriate size for planting. But you don't want to cut them and then run right out to the garden and plant them. What you want to do is after you cut them, set them out on some newspaper, some paper towels, and allow them to dry for a couple of days. Then you can take them out into the garden and plant them. If you're interested in growing potatoes in the home garden, it's important to know that you just don't go to the grocery store and buy potatoes there and take them home and plant them. Those came from other states, and they're probably not appropriate varieties for growing in Florida. The varieties we grow in Florida are mostly grown commercially for the potato chip market, and the main potato producing area in Florida is up around the Hastings area. But we can easily and successfully grow potatoes here in Volusia County as well. You can grow potatoes traditionally in the ground. You can also grow them in containers. You can grow them in hay bales. You can grow them in raised beds. You can even grow them hydroponically in perlite. And we have information on how to grow potatoes in various ways. No matter what your living situation is, if you live in an apartment or a condominium where you don't have any ground to plant anything, if you have large enough containers, you can plant potatoes and other edible crops at home. We can show you how. What I'd like to do now is show you some of the varieties of potatoes. Did you know that there are colored potatoes? There are red potatoes, there are white potatoes, there are blue potatoes, there are golden potatoes. There are potatoes that are satisfactory for making potato chips. There are potatoes that will do well for frying, and there are potatoes that do well for baking, and there are a few varieties that are good at all three. And remember, don't go to the grocery store and buy potatoes to plant those in your garden. You want to go online. Many of the major seed companies sell seed potatoes. You can also go locally to some farmer supply or feed stores, and they will sell seed potatoes that are appropriate for planting here in Florida. And we can help you prepare the garden and properly plant potatoes in the home garden. With Solutions for Your Life, I'm Joe Seward.
Well, now it's time to head into the studio and join the Director of Community Information, Dave Byron, and his guest, Dona Butler, with Volusia County Community Assistance.
Thanks, Amber, and hi, everyone. You know, while the economy in Volusia County has rebounded from the difficulties of the Great Recession, there still are many people in the community who are struggling to make ends meet. Volusia County government plays a big role in helping to meet the needs with a variety of services ranging from emergency assistance, affordable housing, and transition to productivity. We haven't talked about this service for quite a while, so we're pleased to have with us in the studio today Dona Butler. She's the county's Community Assistance Division Director. Donna, how are you doing today?
Great, Dave. Thank you.
Hey, for those folks that aren't familiar with the Community Assistance Division and the services the county provides in that area, give us kind of a general description.
Okay, well, we provide a lot of services to folks that need help financially. Some of those are emergency assistance for folks that need help with rent or utilities, medical. We provide first-time housing assistance or rehabilitation, and then we also manage the Section 8 program.
Right. So if we could summarize that, then from what I understand about your division, I guess you could say, you know, you provide emergency assistance or human services on one side and then housing type services on the other. Is that right?
That's correct.
Hey, let's talk about the human services side of things. What kind of services do you provide there?
Well, we give one-time financial assistance to folks that meet the criteria, and it's pretty arduous for them to meet that criteria, but they have to bring in financial information about their income, about their rent or mortgage, utility bills. And so once we figure it out, they can receive one or two-time assistance, $500 for rent or mortgage assistance, and $600 to help with their utility expenses.
What sort of emergencies or what sort of need do I have to show to be able to qualify?
Well, you have to be able to show not only that you have a need, so maybe you've been working at your job and you were ill, hurt your back, and couldn't go in for a couple weeks, or you're behind on your utility payment or your mortgage payment. But in addition to showing the need, you also have to show a feasible plan about how you can provide for yourself in the future. And both of those things are equally important in us being able to assist you as a client.
Right. And I think I heard you say that this is kind of like a one or two time thing. You don't pay utility bills or that sort of thing month to month and that sort of thing?
Absolutely not. It's a one-time deal, and we also don't pay the client directly.
Oh,
so if it's owed to, say, Florida Power or Progress Energy, then we send a check directly to that power company. If there's a landlord involved, we pay the landlord directly.
Okay.
And we send a letter of commitment, so both the landlord, if there's an eviction notice in place, or in the power company or water company instance, they receive notice from us so they don't turn off the power or the water or evict someone because they know our check is coming in the mail.
The other side of the service delivery that you have in your division, I think you mentioned, was in the housing side of things. Give us kind of a general description of some of the housing programs that you're involved in.
Well, the one that most people are most familiar with is the first-time home buyers, and we provide down payment assistance to low to moderate income individuals who want to buy a home for the first time. So they, seek out assistance, and they go through classes to make sure they understand the responsibilities of home ownership. And so we help them with their down payment. And as long as they stay in their home for a certain period of time, then they don't have to pay that down payment assistance back. So it's kind of a win-win for the residents. The rehabilitation program is very important. It helps folks with low income be able to make minor repairs, like repairing their roof, or maybe their heating and air conditioning system is on the fritz and they don't have the funds to do it. So there's some forms that are in grants, and then others that are actually loans.
Right.
In which they have to pay them back. We also have substantial rehabilitation. So if there's enough damage to the house and it's not able to be just partially rehabilitated, then we essentially take it down to the ground and rebuild it, and then the folks are responsible for repaying us the funds that were put into the home.
So overall, what is the Community Assistance Division budget?
It's approximately $24 million. About 12 of that is federal funds, 2 of that is state, $2 million of that is state, and then the rest of it, the $10 million, is local funds from our general fund.
Right. So I was going to say that I understand that there are a lot of grant dollars that flow into your operation. The reason why I wanted to have this interview is because there's a lot of talk in the community these days about the homeless problem. And it is obviously a significant problem in Volusia County. I don't know that anyone has clearly identified a solution to that problem. But I think sometimes what had gotten lost in that discussion is that the County of Volusia really has been addressing homelessness in one way or another for quite some time. And when you add up the money that the county has spent on homeless, it's a pretty significant amount of money, isn't it?
It's very significant. We did a 10-year report and presented it to the council, and I think sometimes when you come annually, you lose sight of the long-term investment that our county council has put into the community. But it was quite substantial, both in the housing arena, which is low income, affordable housing, whether it was Section 8, which is rental assistance, or even the homelessness prevention dollars that we do, which is really the purpose of the client emergency assistance. It's very substantial, and the council has made a considerable effort to make sure that our local dollars are matching those that we get from the federal and state government to ensure that we take care of our folks.
So that kind of, you know, segues into a concept that's been discussed in the community to take a vacant school in the Daytona Beach area, on the west side of Daytona Beach, and to turn that into a homeless family area, I believe it is. Tell us about that project, because that seemed to be really exciting.
It is very exciting. It's the former Hearst Elementary School in unincorporated Holly Hill area, and really under the leadership of Faru Hosseini and the county manager, we've started having some discussions that have been quite fruitful. And the county plans to purchase, if all goes well and is approved by council and the school board, the facility and then turn it over to the Halifax Urban Ministries. And what's really neat is that this isn't really going to be a shelter. This is going to be a place where kids with their parents can live and really get a lot of ancillary resources provided to them. And the cool thing is a lot of those services are not just going to be for the folks living there, it's also going to be for the neighborhood. So the intention is to have a medical clinic, a library. Daytona State College has indicated they're willing to put a computer lab in adjacent to our library so that there could be some really good synergy there. In addition, one program that we didn't talk about under housing is our neighborhood stabilization program.
That's right, yeah.
And so I'm really excited because it's already a neighborhood stabilization area where we can go in, buy bank-owned foreclosed homes, rehabilitate them, and then sell them. And so we'll be able to help perk up the neighborhood, you know, if you will, by rehabilitating these homes, and possibly some of these folks might be in a good place at some point in the near future to be able to purchase a home through our first-time home buyers. So it's really a win-win for the entire community.
Donna, I also just got to mention, I know you got promoted recently. I'm going to be the Department Director for Community Services, so I just wanted to congratulate you for that. I came into the county as an intern from Stetson, and look at you now. So
well, thank you, Dave.
Thanks for sharing the information with us.
Thank you.
Our guest today, Dona Butler, she's the Director of the Community Assistance Division with Volusia County Government. With that, we'll go back to you, Amber.
Thanks, Dave, and thank you for watching Volusia Magazine. If you have any questions about the show, you can feel free to give us a call at any of the numbers you see listed here, or you can log on to volusia.org and click on the News tab at the top of the screen to find us. And we hope you won't forget to listen to Volusia Today. That's Volusia County Government's weekly public radio broadcast. Volusia Today airs every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday mornings on the local radio stations you see on your screen. For Volusia Magazine, I'm Amber Osmond. Have a wonderful evening.